Hey guys, how's it going? If you're new to my channel, my name is Tiffany, and this week we're going to be covering something a little bit different, and that is creating thumbnails for YouTube videos using Canva. So whether you are also new to creating regular content on YouTube, or maybe you're wanting to rebrand your channel a little bit, or you've been around the block a few times and you just want to get better at this process, hopefully there'll be some helpful tips in this video for you. So if you're unfamiliar with Canva, it is a free website and resource for you to create graphics of any kind. I will include the link below to Canva's website. It is an affiliate link if you decide in the future that you want to upgrade to a pro account where you have access to more capabilities and features. I may earn a small commission off of that at no extra expense to you. So while I am still relatively new to creating regular content on YouTube, I do have a little graphic design experience. I enjoy this process, so that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so before we jump right into the design process, I do want to touch on branding. So again, whether you are new to having a YouTube channel or not, and regardless of what kind of YouTube channel you have a brand. You may not want to have a brand, you may not like the word brand, but essentially you are a product. You're selling your own product. And branding could be a whole nother video, but essentially you are exuding qualities and vibes to an audience. Hopefully you know or have an idea of who your potential audience might be. The process of kind of visually identifying what you want your brand to exude, that is tough to figure out, but you kind of want to settle on a color palette that feels right for you, some fonts that feel like they complement that, maybe the kind of verbiage you use when you have text on your graphics kind of gives you an idea of if you are a very formal and professional type of business or you're laid back and fun and maybe you kind of speak more towards younger audiences. These are all the things that you should be thinking about when you develop your brand. So eventually when you have this kind of branding package for yourself, it is good practice to apply these visual elements into basically everything you create, including your YouTube thumbnails. So when you, as a consumer, are searching for something in YouTube and you see the results, at least for me, my eye is drawn to the thumbnails. I think I actually read the thumbnails first, the information from the thumbnails, before I read the title to see if this is the right match for me, if I want to invest my time in this video. So it is pretty important to have compelling thumbnails. And if you are successful at getting that person to click on your video and watching your video and they like you, then they're probably going to go on your channel and look to see what other videos you have that might be related. And if that person goes to your channel and sees kind of the spread of all your video thumbnails together and sees that it is streamlined and organized and easy to process, then they are even more likely to watch more of your videos and maybe potentially subscribe to you. And this can apply across all social media platforms. Now, this is certainly not to say that you can't experiment and learn as you go, because you're probably not going to be great starting out. Don't beat yourself up too much at the beginning because it is an experimental process. An experimental process that I am also currently going through, and can be hard to kind of have a solid visual brand when all your videos are pretty different, but hopefully I'll get to that point. So let me really quickly show you guys an example of a channel I recently found that does have a nice, consistent, appealing visual brand. So this is the channel We Side Hustle by Jade Beeson. And she has a super consistent, simple, clean visual brand here. And then to contrast her channel with something totally different, here is Offline TV's channel. They are video game streamers and they are using consistent fonts, even though they are changing the colors throughout. They are keeping similar themes. You know, everything is really fun and playful and silly, and that's perfect for the brand. So I can't emphasize enough, there's no right or wrong way to do this. You just have to kind of find it yourself, whatever kind of uniform things you feel fit you. So let me give you guys a quick overview of how Canva works. So this is what the website looks like. It is free to have a membership. This is what you can access. You have all of these templates here. Now what's awesome about this is that the dimensions are already plugged into these templates. So you don't have to remember and create a document that's in the correct size. It's all right here, ready to go. So while you do have more you can do in, you know, Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator, for me personally, this is kind of easier for me to manage. In most cases, you are probably starting out and don't have a lot of graphic design experience, and I think this is a perfect place to start for that. Obviously, you can use Canva for anything really. It doesn't have to be social media platforms, but regardless of how you use it, I would like to kind of give a quick disclaimer and make sure that you are always aware of copyright rules. So even though YouTube thumbnails, pretty safe to put most anything in a YouTube thumbnail. However, it's always best practice to use your own images, take your own photos. Don't just take someone's photo randomly off the internet and go, oh, this is gonna be my backdrop. Your vacation in Hawaii is my backdrop for my thing. Obviously, you need to ask permission and make sure that that's taken care of. Your stuff should be as original as possible. Basically, everything within Canva that you can use, like stock photos, background colors, fonts, and kind of visual elements, those things are gonna be free for you to use. And if you do pull other kind of visual elements that are not within Canva, say you are doing a like fast food comparison video of like McDonald's and Wendy's, then using, you know, the McDonald's and Wendy's logos within your thumbnail on YouTube, that's probably fine. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's totally okay. But you have to be careful if you are doing something like you're heavily bad-mouthing a product or something like that, and like you're using the product's logo in your visual elements, like your thumbnails and whatever. You might want to be careful about that. You may get in trouble in the future. So I would encourage you to take and use your own photos. That way you don't have to worry about anything. It's your own original work. So to take a decent quality photo of yourself or products, you want to make sure that you are most likely facing a window, that light is even, and unless you're going for something really dramatic, you can take this photo with your smartphone and just set a timer. Oftentimes the cameras in smartphones are pretty good. And I totally understand if you are feeling shy and self-conscious about using your face in your videos. However, there is something to say about when there is a face to put with the subject of the video. We as humans are drawn to seeing human faces. They feel personable and relatable to see pictures of people and not just inanimate objects. So if you were reviewing a computer product or something and you had the picture of that product as one option in a thumbnail, and then the other one is you holding the product or with the product, even though you may like the other one better, we may be visually more drawn to the one with you because we want to hear and see what you have to say about it. But either way, always make sure that your object in the photos are clearly visible. It definitely doesn't hurt to kind of have it separated and farther away from the background. Having a blurrier background makes your subject stand out, and it may be easier to work with in this process of creating your thumbnail. It definitely doesn't hurt to have options though, and be prepared to ask other people for their opinion. You should strongly consider what other people have to say because oftentimes their opinion is probably the right one. So without further ado, let's finally get into designing a thumbnail. And you guys will be seeing the process of designing a thumbnail for this specific video. So we are going to go to social media and then go over to YouTube thumbnail. Okay, so when you open up a file, you may have some templates here on the left that you can use, and I don't know that I would recommend using these as a guide of like, these are wonderful YouTube thumbnails. I think most of them, the text and everything is too small. This one right here is pretty good because it's simple and most everything is legible in small format, but you can use this for reference. I think these two here are pretty good. So if we were to try this here, I think if this was like a little bit bigger, that would probably be a pretty solid YouTube thumbnail right there. But since we are not biceps and triceps, clearly, we are going to do our own. So let's go to uploads, where I have already uploaded my photo from today. Here's my image. I don't know why it's not as landscape as I thought it would be. Not sure what I did there, but we are gonna make it as big as we can. I don't really want to take up the whole thing. That's just way too big for this thumbnail. Typically, I have been doing a still from my actual footage, but the quality often doesn't end up being as good. However, I could use a much better iPhone and it would probably take a much better quality photo. But this is good enough for now. So we are going to remove the background of this image by going to Edit Image and Background Remover. This feature is a pro account feature, and you can use an outside, resource to remove your backgrounds. I don't know if they will be as effective and if the quality will be as good, but you can always do that and save yourself a little bit of money. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You do have a 30-day free trial to try this feature, and if you like it, then you can always upgrade if you want, but I think it's pretty easy and effective. So here is this image without the background. Now this looks a little wonky down here, but that's okay because if I put it on top of the original image, we won't really see this weird situation going on there. So let's put this in, and we are going to blur this by going to Edit Image, Adjust, and blurring it. I think I'll put it at about there, and then move this position forward. So we're bringing it to the front. Because you're working with layers, it's kind of the same thing with Photoshop, except this is just a lot more simple. simplified. So I think that looks pretty good, but since we have this blank space situation, I am going to have to figure out something for this side of the image. Okay guys, so I went ahead and figured out how I wanted to fill this space. It ended up being a little bit different than I was anticipating initially, but let me recreate what I did. You can actually just duplicate by going like so, and let me show you what I did. So I found a triangle shape. If you go to Elements here, and then under Lines and Shapes, I found this shape here, which is perfect, and I rotated it like so, put it in the corner, and stretched it all the way out. Now, what I had to do was move this layer aside, and then stretch this all the way out. And what's weird is that you can actually go all the way past this thing here, and it's totally fine. It's only gonna save this portion of your image that fits within this rectangle. And then move this back, but since this layer is now on top, we are going to make sure that this is selected, which it is, and go to Position Forward and move it back into place, like so. Also, these guides here that you saw, these pink lines will often help you find the middle of the image this way and this way. Lots of guides are very helpful, so you don't have little spaces and things not aligned correctly. Okay, so we did that. And to find this color, I actually pulled it from my color palette, which unfortunately I have not used once since I started creating my thumbnails, which is not very good practice. So I made this color palette using coolers.co, and I generated these based on my mood board. I actually used an eyedropper tool from my mood board. I believe you can upload an image to coolers.co and it'll pull, and you can kind of move it around and just basically decide which colors you want. And highlighted this hex code and input it here when I clicked on this triangle, and then to change the color, you can put a hex code at the top in this bar, hit enter, and it will come up with this color. So that's how I got a customized color in here. I think this looks pretty like professional. I believe the second part of my title is gonna be look more professional and get more views. So I specifically wore this today so it looks like I could be a young professional type person. I am not positive I'm gonna stay with this bluish grayish color. I may want to copy my kind of mustard color here and see if I like this better as a mustard. And it's possible I may want to do that, but I am not sure yet. We have two different versions here. Okay guys, so a lot of time has passed, but I have finally come up with 3 different options here, and I'd like to recreate how I made one of them. So let's talk about them. So these are the 3 designs I ended up with. I want to talk about the differences really quick between them, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick one to recreate making with you guys. To continue off from what I was doing with the original, I added text here and then found these different elements. This is actually, yeah, from the Elements tab here. I searched for various words that kind of led me to this design here, which I kind of thought was quirky and fun. And then I added the Canva logo with some shadow behind it. And then after I decided I liked it, I thought it needed more of a pop of color, so I went ahead and made this one down here, and I searched for a background here. In this tab, you can find landscapes, patterns, gradients, all of this stuff here. And I found that in the pattern section here, you can actually choose a pattern here and you can change the color of it, which is really cool. And you can actually even add your own hex code to get your own specific color as well. So that's how I ended up with this. And although this isn't technically the same shade that's in my color palette, which is kind of a darker mustard, I thought that that looked nice enough. I experimented with different sizes of the font here, and this is kind of what I ended up with. So let me go ahead and recreate this second design here, since it's the one that I'm kind of gravitating towards. Okay, so this is pretty much where we left off. All I did is make this triangle a different color. So I am going to go ahead and add the text by going into the text section and adding a heading here. We are going to go ahead and write the word make. Do another one. Better. Let's go ahead and change these all to the correct font, which is Poppins Bold. And then if I go up here and cheat to see what size that is, it's 93.7. We're gonna write in 93.7. There we go. Same thing here. And then this bottom text here is 136. We're gonna put this in the middle down here. See how those guides help you and indicate that this is the middle. And then here I kind of had this aligned so that they line up here on the right side. That's pretty close. Then I went ahead and added some boxes behind here, but first let's make this white by clicking here. Now, usually I scroll down and just make sure that it's this default, it's a true white, because sometimes if you kind of pick one that may be in a different kind of scheme here, it might not actually be a true white or the exact color you want. But for now, that is actually a true white. And let's do that here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and add some shadow to this by going to the Effects tab and adding shadow. Here is the color tab. For the shadow, I'm gonna change it to black so that it stands out more. Transparency, we are gonna take all the way away. And then this is all fine here. So that's that, it's already in the middle. I would like to add really quick before I forget that you can change the spacing of your letters, your text by going to the tab here, spacing. Now, if you go like this, line spacing, which I think is also called leading. If you go like this, oh, what I'm doing a terrible job of showing you what that looks like because this isn't a paragraph here, but if it was, make better. Let's try that. This can extend the space between each line. So that's line spacing, also known as leading. And then if you go to letter spacing, which is also called tracking, that adds an equal distance between each letter. I like some space between the letters. However, I don't think they need to be that exaggerated. We don't need to be that stylized with what we're doing here. So let's put this back here. That's good enough. And let's add some boxes behind this text here by going to the Elements section. And under Lines and Shapes, you can go to See All and you can pick whatever shape you want, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do a regular square that I am gonna manipulate here and make this black. And I'm going to put it automatically is putting it behind this text here, but sometimes it may not be the right layer. You may have to change the position by going to Position and having to click one of these to get it to be in the right place for you. That's kind of how I have it. And then I stretched this all the way across, and then later we are going to put that behind this. For now, we're just gonna copy and paste this and make it white. And we're gonna put this over here and switch the position to back. Oops, let's do forward, forward. There we go. This can be a little bit finicky sometimes, so you may have to use your keyboard to position that how you would like it. We're gonna go ahead and copy, paste. We're gonna make it this kind of teal-ish color. This is close enough. I'm not seeing, normally, oh, photo colors, but for some reason, there we go. We wanna match the Canva logo, which I don't actually have in this image quite yet, but let me grab that for you in a second. We are gonna go like this, and I kinda liked leaving a little bit of space underneath. We are gonna make it slightly transparent because I liked being able to see the computer and elements underneath. We're gonna shift that a little bit forward and then position this backward. Perfect. So I didn't do this exactly correctly. I think it's because this is up a little bit, and so is this. And now we kind of have an equal distance between these yellow lines, or pretty close anyway. It's not exactly like above, but that's good for now. And let's go ahead and bring this forward so that it is in front of this. And that is the bottom of our image here. So let's go ahead and find this element here by going into the Elements tab, which we're already in. Now, I believe I searched for, was it motion? You can find various things in here. You can find still images. A lot of times they may be Pro, they are an upgrade. However, you can look at this. This is a video or something that's a 20-second video that is free. So it really just depends on what it is that you need. Okay, it is under Shine. That's where I found it. And this is a free graphic, and I changed the color to white. And then I actually found something else because it wasn't enough. Let me see if I can find that graphic. So here it is. I couldn't totally remember where I found it. It might have been in the motion category again. We're gonna make this white, and I think I like positioned it pretty much perfectly so that it kind of blended in with this. That's good enough for now. It's a little bit wonky, but I'm gonna select these two things by clicking one of them and then hovering over the other, holding Shift and then clicking the trackpad on my laptop. That has selected both of them, and I'm gonna click Group because I want them to stay together. It's gonna be annoying to have to select them multiple times. Now I'm changing the size and rotating it to my liking. And that is close enough for now. Now, I already went ahead and found the Canva logo online. I couldn't find it in PNG form, so I went ahead and made one. If you go to Edit Image, Background Remover, it does it pretty well. And then I went ahead and cropped it. I don't want it to be that wide. And then I added a shadow by going to Edit Image, Shadows, Drop, I believe. So that is how we did that. So because I forgot to tell you guys how to do the glow effect, which is very popular for a lot of thumbnails because it kind of gives you a nice little pop without doing anything too crazy. And it's actually a pretty quick and easy way to do this. I went ahead and removed the background from myself again, and I figured out also how to fix the situation down here in the corner, which was looking a little bit weird. If we go to Restore, then we can go ahead and hover over this corner and fix it. Same thing can happen if it is not recognizing, you know, maybe there's a gap in your hair, or, you know, maybe something weird is happening. You can go ahead and either use the Erase or Restore tool to fix any situations. So let's go ahead and do that. Click Done. So let's go ahead and go to Edit Image. This is how I like to do a glow. I think I looked it up originally and was told to do it a different way, and I didn't like how it was turning out, and I was like, this isn't what I wanted. So this is how to do it the way that I like. If you go to the glow option here, it will automatically do a glow around you. However, if you want to change it, you click on it and click on color, and you can really choose anything you want, which you can't see very well right now. Let me make it bigger for you. And let's get rid of this. Let's make it less blurry and less transparent so you can really see what we're working with here. And let's go ahead and change this to white because I just want a little bit of a cleaner look. Stay within a few colors, not get too crazy here. And I kind of prefer that this is a little bit smaller. Let's put it on 10, and that looks good. So I'm gonna hit Apply, and that is that. So let's go ahead and take our Canva logo here, make it a little bit bigger, and I think I had it overlapping the M, but then we are going to go ahead and bring this forward, position, forward, forward, and there you go. I believe that we have successfully recreated this thumbnail. There is a lot that can go into creating thumbnails in Canva, but that is gonna do it for today. And if it wasn't already clear, everything is kind of automatically saved as you go, which is nice. But when you're all done, if you want to download your project, you would just go to Download and click whichever pages you want. In this case, I'm just gonna do page 2. Click Done. Make sure it is in PNG form. You can do it as JPEG or however you want. You can even create GIFs and MP4s to change the format of it if you want some animation and kind of movement. But I'm gonna click Download, and then I have my file saved. So one last thing before I conclude this week's video, if I go to the home screen here, you will see that I have all of my designs previously made in this section here. And if you are a pro member, I believe that you can have unlimited file saves. However, if you are a regular member, I think that there is a cap on how many files you can have saved, and I don't know what that is. So that is another reason why it is helpful to have that pro membership. But essentially that is Canva in a nutshell. So I would love to know which design out of the 3 options you guys prefer. Let me know in the comments. Hopefully whichever design I end up using will bring you to this video, and that means that it is working. Obviously things like your topic, your title, and how well you do your SEO really affects how likely you are to have an audience view your video. It doesn't matter if you are starting out and you are a small YouTuber like me. If you do things correctly, you should get some views, but obviously you'll get some more momentum once you post more regularly. I would love to know what you found most helpful about this tutorial, and if you have any questions about this process, or if you have any topics you'd like for me to cover in the future. But that is gonna do it for this week's video. I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing to my channel, because if I get a good response from this video, then I will definitely do more videos like this. But thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching all the way through. Have a good weekend and see you later.